Hello beautiful people, welcome back to another video. I am Tanish Fortson, your favorite virtual embroidery coach, and I have another fun design plan for you guys tonight. We are making my daughter's teachers some Halloween shirts. Every year I like to do something special for the teachers, and I usually do it for the whole grade level, but since I have two kids in school now and the school is pretty big, they have a lot of teachers, I'm only going to make for my kindergartner's teacher and my second grader's two teachers. She has like a English language arts teacher and a homeroom teacher. So let's go ahead and get started. We are using this Gildan brand soft style mid-weight t-shirts, and we are going to be using this applique fabric. It is an applique design. However, this applique has a twist. We are going to be doing reverse applique. So if you guys do not know what reverse applique is, then watch this video all the way through because it's a really fun process. So just picture applique with a twist. I actually need to prep the applique fabric. So since this is reverse applique, we need the fabric cut a little bit bigger than usual. Let's give this, I said 9 inches, but I'm gonna give it about 10. So I'm just gonna cut right here. How cute is this fabric? It has like glitter sprinkles in it. It's adorable. All right, so we are going to need heat and bond light. I'm just going to cut off a very large chunk. All right, let's press this and then get it hooped. So we are using the 11 by 13 mighty hoop. This is my favorite hoop to use, especially for my large designs. So let's talk about this. Let's think this through. I have a decision to make. I have satin stitches on this design, rather heavy satin stitches, and cutaway stabilizer would work the best for that type of stitching. However, this is reverse applique, and a lot of the times when I make my shirts, I like to consider wearability as an embroiderer. As someone with a larger chest size, sometimes this big bulky fabric is pretty uncomfortable under a t-shirt. So sometimes I do use no-show mesh. It may not stitch the best using a no-show mesh. So things to compensate due to lack of stability if I use a no-show mesh is to pair the no-show mesh with 2 pieces of tearaway stabilizer. And I wouldn't even hoop that. I would just stick it under right before the machine embroiders. That's my other option. I think that I am going to risk it all and go that way instead of using the 3-ounce cutaway stabilizer. This is my cutaway stabilizer. Let me cut off a piece really quickly. This is really impromptu because I was all set to use cutaway stabilizer, but with this design, it'll just work better with tearaway, and it'll also fit better. Okay, first we are going to put on our tearaway stabilizer. This is going to tear off. And then next we are going to put on our no-show mesh. I don't think that's gonna stay on. Let's just, and then our third layer, which has to be closest to the shirt for reverse applique to work. Now that we have the layers correctly, we can put the top hoop on. Stick your hand under, make sure everything is lined up by using the armpits on both sides. Just feel where they are. Make sure they're in the same place. All right, I'll see you guys in the software so that we can digitize the actual design. I am in the Embroidered software. I am using Embroidered Stitch Artist Level 3. I'm going to create a new page, and we are making a Halloween design. I am going to pull up a font from the Embroidered library of fonts. The first thing I'm going to do is open my digitizing software by clicking on this blue fan. I'm going to come right to this little T right here that's highlighted. I'm going to click it, and I already have the font that I want. I'm using the College Slab. I mean, this is one of the more popular fonts to use, and it's one of my favorites. It's so simple. So we are doing reverse applique, and we are going to use the word boo. So B-O-O. I'm gonna hit enter and bring that up. Now let's size. Now I want this to be a very large boo, like really large. And now I am going to fix this little square right here. It's not stitching as one design, it's stitching after the bee is already stitched. So I'm just going to select both. I'm going to come up here to create, outline, and I am going to combine the holes. All right, that is fixed. Now I'm going to bring these letters a little closer. I'm just going to go over 2 spaces, 1, 2. And I'm going to select the B and go over 2 spaces. Okay, this should be good. I'm going to select the entire design right now, and I'm going to right click. I'm going to hit copy, and then I'm going to hit paste. This will be reverse applique. So the first boo, it's going to be bean stitches. So I'm going to click on the run stitch, and I am going to make single. I'm going to do a double run just for that added reinforced stabilization when I am cutting the fabric. And I'm not going to be cutting the actual fabric because this is reverse applique. I'm going to be cutting the t-shirt. And let's go pick a color. Doesn't matter too much, but I do want my machine to stop after this part right here is stitched so that I can cut the fabric, and then I'm going to take it back to the machine, and I am going to do a simple bean stitch around the single run that we had, and then I'm going to do the final satin stitch. So I actually need one more copy, and then we're going to do, I'm going to move this earlier. I am going to change the color so that my machine will know that it's supposed to stop. I am going to make this a bean stitch. It's going to be 4 millimeters. I don't want anything too big, too like noticeable. I still want it to be discreet, so it's just going to be a 5-pass bean stitch. All right, and for this last stitch right here, this one needs to be inflated. Okay, so since these right here are going to be satin stitches, I actually may need to space these out a little bit more. So I'm going to come right here, and I am going to grab the first B, the second B, the third B. Let's scooch it over a little bit. And now I'm going to grab the last O on all 3 parts of the design. We are pretty much done. Here is the very simple design. Now let's head over to the machine and stitch this out. This design is taking 27 minutes to stitch out. For the reverse applique, the first thing that is going to stitch is going to be the, I don't know what we would call it, but it would be like a placement stitch where we cut the actual t-shirt, not the fabric. And then the stitch after that is going to be like the final bean stitch around what we cut. And then I have an additional satin border around the whole entire design. And then I have some text, and then I have a cute little ghost. So you guys will see that in a minute as soon as I get the machine going. My thread colors are already set, so we are pretty much good to go. So I'm going to trace my design. You always want to give it a little trace. So remember, we have a piece of tearaway, a piece of no-show mesh, and the fabric under here. When that final satin stitch has to be done, I'm going to stick another piece of tearaway under here so that the pressure that my machine is going to produce will not be too much and rip the shirt during the satin stitch or make a hole or anything like that. Something was going on with my thread. So one thing I'm going to do right now is slow the machine down. Right now it's set to 1200 stitches per minute. I'm going to take it to about 1100 stitches per minute. That's usually my safe space where I don't get any thread breaks or anything like that. But I might even slow it down to 1000 stitches per minute. All right, let me check, make sure everything under here is okay. Oh, there's a piece of thread. This is like a placement stitch, so we will know where to cut our fabric. So I'm going to cut right along this line right here on the inside of the B, the O, and the O, and I'm going to leave this orange fabric right here. Okay, so the first thing that I am going to do is break into the fabric. So I'm just going to take this seam ripper and give it a little tear. I'm going to use my 6-inch curved ginger scissors, and I did put like finger protectors inside because they are a little rough on the fingers if you cut a lot of applique. So I'm just going to cut right along this line. You can already see the fabric underneath the shirt as I start cutting. So I did do a double run stitch around here so that the stitches won't lift as I'm cutting. It's really up to you if you want to leave a lot of fabric showing. I'm gonna do a pretty close cut, and I'm not gonna stress over if this is perfect or not, because we want it to look intentional. If we didn't, we just could have did regular applique. So while cutting, the only thing I'm really concerned about is not cutting the actual shirt, even though I'm cutting the shirt, but you know what I mean. Ooh, I almost cut right here. I would say if you're not good at applique, then this is like a good way to do things. The only problem is it needs to be digitized for reverse applique. All right, that's all. I'm not gonna worry too much about cleaning this up. If you want it to look frayed, then you wouldn't cut as close as I did. All right, let's take this back to the machine. Okay. So I keep getting thread breaks. I have run into some problems with the comb that I'm using. I'm using the black thread, which is number 14, and I do got to do a satin stitch with that one. So I've already changed the needle and checked the feed. However, I do need to maintenance my, what are these? The feed rollers. They need to be oiled and maintenance and just all the things that you do with these, like taking off and clean. I have not did that in a very long time. So I suspect that is the issue, but for right now, just to get through this design, I am going to put the black thread on another cone that stitches better. And let me show you guys the backside. You can always tell in a embroidery design, like if the person is having trouble or the digitizer digitized it wrong. You can always look at the backside and tell if there's an issue. So I'm going to show you guys the backside. Okay, so just off the bat, you can see like something happened right here. This right here is where it's tying at, so don't worry about that tie, but like right in this area right here, no, that is not okay. The back of your embroidery should not look like this. So I know that it's nothing wrong with the digitizing. I've did a million bean stitches, so I'm just going to put the black thread on a different cone at this point just to get through this design. All right. I changed the cone. I have to reload the design. So I'm at stitch count. My stitch count, you want to take note, is 2,602. So I'm going to clear that design. I am going to not leave out, but I'm going to put it at 6,000. What was it? I wrote it down. Oh, it's 2,602. So it did read the new thread cone that I have the black set to, and now let's see how this goes. I'm nervous. Now for the satin stitch. And I also have some lettering and a little ghost. So this is tearaway. I just cut off a strip and I'm just gonna fold it in half and stick it right under here for the rest of this design. All right, while that design is stitching out, I just wanna take a moment to invite you guys to my private community. If you do not know, I am the creator and owner of Embroidery Mastery. That's the whole umbrella of my brand, but one of the sub branches is called Embroidery Mastery. It's a community for stitchers like yourself who want to be in the presence of other stitchers, who want to learn, who want to grow, who wants business tips, who wants stitch challenges. If you just want to be in a really good environment and in a safe space and feel comfortable asking questions, then this is a community for you. I'm so proud of this community. I just launched it. We had a really good launch, and so far everyone is so helpful. Everyone is so nice. Everyone is so inviting. And this is a community that I've literally been dreaming about having. I don't always feel comfortable talking about certain things in embroidery. And now that I have the community, I can speak freely, you know, about certain things, about certain techniques. You know, if you do something wrong, you get a lot of pushback, you get a lot of flack from other people. I've experienced this firsthand in the Facebook groups. Oh my God, my Facebook page, like I've said it before, some people come at me and I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but if you do things a little bit different, it's okay. You don't have to attack that person, you know? So in the community, I go live 2 times a month, and we are going to be starting our first stitch challenge this Thursday. So be sure to go over to the school community and check me out. It's a great resource if you are an embroiderer, just to have that community, just to have that safe space, just to have that friendship that we are developing is more than anything that you could ask for. So anyhow, this is my community. It is a paid community, but let me tell you firsthand that it is worth every single cent, because we are going to change the game for embroidery. We are going to become the leaders of embroidery. This group is full of professionals and like-minded individuals. We're about minding our business and getting the job done. We don't need all the extra stuff. We don't need to debate about stabilizers. We don't need all that. So if you guys are interested, my community is linked below. So I did stick a piece of Solvay on top, and it's making the letters stitch so much better. So I'm watching the design from here, just so that you guys know it was the thread cone. I have not had one issue, but I will show you guys the back. The back of your embroidery does tell a story, so I will go over the back with you guys as soon as everything is done. We will talk about it. If you guys are interested in learning how to digitize, my course Stitch by Stitch is open for enrollment, and we use Stitch Artist Level 3 to digitize the designs in that course. I just realized that I did not cut the stitches where the ghost is stitching right now. She has a little bow, but I forgot to cut the stitches. on the O, so the stitches will overlap. I hate when stitches overlap, but we'll see how it looks. So I forgot to cut there's a purple bow that goes right on top, but it's gonna stitch over these thick satin stitches. So I forgot to break off the satin stitches on the O right here to about right here. I just forgot to break it off. I just wasn't thinking. It happens. And I did not sample stitch this whatsoever. So I'm thinking about completing the design and then leaving it hooped and on the machine and going back to break the stitches just so the design will be perfect. And it's so crazy to me because I am not type A whatsoever. That's just not my personality. However, when it comes to embroidery, I'm 200% type A. Like, it needs to be perfect. Everything needs to be digitized a certain way. And that bow going over this thick black satin stitches, it will just like bother me and irk me and just leave me like in, I don't know, it's giving me anxiety to have the bow go over this thick black satin. So I think I'm gonna skip this step. Oh, I can't. It already stitched, so how can I break this apart for something that's already stitched unless I redo the whole shirt? All right, I'm over it. It's just gonna stitch over it, you guys. I don't even like it. I can see some bobbin peeking through, which means that I need a new bobbin case. I'm just all bothered with this design right now. All right, the design is done, but I had a slight problem. I thought the bobbin was peeking through a little bit, but it's actually the satin stitch that's under there. But anyhow, I made a satin border for this purple bow. So I just added it. I just went and made it real quick and I added it. So it's the last step on this design. So I am just going to stitch that last step now. Finally done. This took about a good 40 minutes. Okay. Let's cut any threads while we can see them. Got the solvay off. So this B was the one that I initially had trouble with. So there's just, I don't know, there's some looping. Usually when you see bobbin, it's the bottom thread, but with looping, it's usually the top thread. So something's wrong with the feed. And like I said, it needs to be maintenance. So I'm not gonna, worry about it. I know that it is time to maintenance my, the rollers. Now, when I did post a reverse applique design on Facebook, everyone said that I should have, instead of the raggedy stitch showing, that it should have been a double satin stitch and that would make it look better. And I agreed to a certain extent, but the purpose of this was so that the reverse applique could actually show. So when you do the double satin, it just looks like a regular applique. So I did want this to look like reverse applique. All right, let's tackle the back. We are almost done. This is gonna be so cute for the teachers to wear. I wish I could do it for the whole grade level, but I don't have the time nor the energy because each grade level has like anywhere from 10 to 12 teachers. So it's like I will be making 24 shirts, and not to mention the cost. So usually whenever I do something for teachers, it's free. And if you guys go to my Instagram, you can see the teachers that I made at my daughter's school, the shirts I made them last year as well as the year before. I believe that teachers, they need to be spoiled. Like, you need to show them that you care, because these are the people that are with our babies, our children, every single day, and they're pouring into our kids. So we need to just shower them with gifts and love. I remember when I was teaching, I just did not feel the love. A lot of teachers like myself, they don't stay in the field, and it's just really sad because we really need them. It's like I work so hard, but you're just really unappreciated. And I just want my children's teachers, I want all teachers to feel appreciated. Like, I know that feeling. So I am just taking all of the tearaway out, and then I'm going to cut off the no-show mesh and the fabric. I'll cut it together. I want you guys to see the B. So look at the B. You could tell that I had trouble along here. You could just see right in here. And compare it to the other letters. Like right here is your tie in and your tie outs. So the way that I'm going to cut the fabric, I'm cutting the no-show mesh along with the actual fabric. And I'm just gonna take my time right here and not be in a rush because you really don't want to cut the t-shirt. So I'm feeling under here, making sure there's no t-shirt in the way. So my middle finger is under here leading the way. All right, this is the last little piece. This is how it looks. All right, we got to do the final press. I will show you guys the reveal. Okay, here's the final reveal of the shirt. Now, I was gonna put a spider web on the sleeve, but I have run out of time. I have to get my girls to bed, but it's so cute. Beautiful, that's how you say it. But I love it. I love it so much. So I hope you guys enjoy the reverse applique process. This is really fun. It is a unique way of embroidery. Just remember your projects have to be digitized for reverse applique. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them below. Check the description box for all of my links, and I will see you guys in the next video.